far as I understand people who made the shift, what you call the shift, in a way it feels like they are almost like in a different reality. And as if certain things that are valuable for me in my reality, where I'm still in a dream or partly in the dream, well, I don't know, I consider myself still in the dream, let's put it that way. So from your side, I mean, also like spiritual practice was for me very valuable in my life because it gave me a moment of zero. It always brings me back to a moment of, oh, I can breathe, there's nothing, I'm just silent and peaceful. And from there, it gave me the energy to deal with all the stuff, you know. So from your side, what do you feel about spiritual practice? I mean, do you feel it is valuable, or do you feel it is like a waste of time in a way?
I don't think it's a waste of time, because the thing about seeking is you have to do it. You have to follow that yearning. A few of you mentioned the word yearning, and you know, I totally agree with that. That is the engine behind this, and you have to follow that yearning wherever it goes. And if it goes into practice, and if that practice gives you peace of mind or a little bit of space from personality, then you know you'd be a fool not to go for it and use it and delight in it. There's a slight danger with it that it can prolong the dream of personality in some cases, because what it does is kind of separates out the living of this to just the moments when you're practicing. That's the danger, that it becomes a thing that's in an allotted time and space, or a meditation room or whatever. So the practice, this is not a cumulative thing. You know, the more we all know that the more you practice, you know, the more you practice law, probably the better lawyer you become. But with this, it doesn't actually work like that. You may become more peaceful when you're practicing, but when it comes to actually finding this and that shift that I talk about, it can't make that happen. It's not really related to that. Right. But the danger is that practice happens within the dream, but in fact, the dream that I talk about, but within that dream, it's a good thing to do, I would say, and it's beneficial for health, mental health, physical health. So that's my kind of take on it. But you also said something about at the beginning about what I meant by the dream, and do I live in a different reality?
Yeah.
So my answer to that is that essentially I don't.
No.
But there is a difference. And the difference is that what I call personality doesn't run my life anymore. And that, in a way, you could say makes a different reality, in as much as I don't then suffer all the bullshit that comes from that. So in that sense, whereas you may still do in some areas from what you've said. So in that sense, there's a different reality. But outside of that, no, I don't. I still have a self. There are, of course, many differences that arise from not being attached to that identifying with that personality, which is, you know, we could talk all day about that. But essentially, I am in the same reality. Absolutely. This is not about out there.
Right. So I was very touched by that you talked about also like having a satisfying life, you know, because in the spiritual world, it's very much the thing that you become enlightened, or you are like, the focus is completely on that silence or whatever you want to call it, but never ever in many things that I followed or heard, never about your normal life. It's somehow they say, oh yeah, but you're already that. You know, I am that book of Nisargadatta, you are that.
Yeah.
And all you have to focus on is that, but not on this. How do I live my life? How is my relationship? What do I do for fun? How do I work? How do I make money? No, this was all cut, and I loved it very much that you talked about that. And it also touched me because I am one of these people who was always going for that spiritual life and in a way not enough for the normal life.
Yeah. When you talked about the other realities, so it's a good example of this. The reality of this is absolutely includes normal life. It's all about normal life.
Yeah.
It's just normal life without this overlay of this personality.
Right.
So I would suggest that people who point you to this other way where your life, normal life is doesn't have validity, I don't think they're helping you at all.
No.
They're just helping you remain stuck, and they're giving you this carrot to follow, which is impossible because this is normal life. You can't escape this, but there is a different way to live it. That's the point.
Yeah. And would you then say that, I mean, that how far I understand it, it is very, for a big part, the normal life, let's say, shadowed by our wound, like the personality is based on the wound.
Yeah, I mean, the way I talk about it is the personality kind of grows from and is very much an expression of the wound. It's sort of formed with that at its foundation. That's a big part of it, very much. So, a lot of people, you can get stuck in psychology in the wound and you can avoid it. And I'm sort of neither. I mean, I absolutely, because it is part of normal life, I absolutely don't avoid it as a subject. Because for me, it was absolutely the key, the way out. So obviously I have that sense of that with other people, and it's kind of clear today, everyone's, like I said, everyone's got their wound, and it's like the worst nightmare, but it's also this portal.
Yeah. Right. How can you work with us, or how does that go? You just have a conversation and you point out what is personality, what not, or?
Good question. Do you know, Maria, I am finding out, because there's two steps to this. It's like there's one, this thing happened, and two, the teaching of it. And in the teaching of it, I'm new to this. I'm literally finding out as I go along.
Right.
It works. I don't even know whether I can help people to find this. I'm finding that out. All I know is that there's at least two people I have helped. The one who's totally had the shift, and Bo, who's really, his whole life has changed. Now, it might not have been like that, and it seemed for a while like it wasn't going to be like that. So, I was pleasantly surprised when that happened. But as for how I engage and how I work with people, I mean, I've learned most of that through working with someone else and Matthew and Bo. And it is true, if you don't know what the personality is, what I mean by it, then how can you go beyond it? It's just a name. People think, on talent shows, people say, oh, he's a great personality, and it's a good thing. So obviously personality is used in different ways. So it is fundamental to this, what I'm talking about, that one understands what I mean by personality. And this is why I'm thinking for this group, the entrance will be, at least you need to have read the books, because you will have started to gain my understanding of what that is.